What's up, millennials? So in this video we're going to talk about another SPAC. This time we're going to discuss Gores Metropoulos with ticker symbol GMHI. They are going to acquire Luminar, which is a lidar technology company. Now in this video I'm just going to fly through the investors presentation, okay? Today is going to be more or less an introduction to Luminar, so in the future I'll make sure to make some more detailed videos about this company and about this SPAC. After the brief introduction, I'm going to do some technical analysis with you, and in the end of this video, I'm going to tell you what I am going to do with this stock. Now, before we start, please keep in mind that my due diligence hasn't been really extensive just yet. So actually be very careful, especially if you haven't done enough research just yet either. So let's first start with the brief overview of this company. Now, Luminar is a company that uses lidar technology, laser technology, to make autonomous transportation possible. So Luminar was founded by Austin Russell at the age of 16 years old. I'm not sure if you remember what you were doing when you were 16 years old, but I mean, when I was 16 years old, I was probably like playing video games and running through the woods and stuff like this, and this guy Austin Russell just goes ahead and builds a company. And the company Luminar is actually backed by multiple people, multiple companies as well, one of them being Peter Thiel. I'm not sure if you remember that name, because you might actually know that name, especially if you have watched the movie The Social Network, which is the movie about the creation of Facebook, right? Because Peter Thiel was actually one of the first investors in Facebook. Now, of course, apart from Peter Thiel, we can also see some other companies backing Luminar or investing in Luminar like Volvo and Daimler. Now, one of the interesting things about Luminar is that this company can actually spread its products across multiple verticals, so to say. So as we can see, instead of betting on just one vertical, on just passenger vehicles, or just trucking, or just robotaxis, you can bet on all three of them by betting on Luminar, because their products can be used in all of these sectors, in all of these verticals. Now, as shown in this presentation, we can actually see that their products, Luminar's products, can also be used across multiple levels of autonomous driving. It's either used to enhance the experience of the lower levels of autonomous driving, or to actually enable the higher levels, so level 3, 4, and 5 of autonomous driving. Luminar has also partnered with some major car makers as well, like Volvo, for example. So that's more like I would say the passenger vehicle segment, right? And they have also partnered with Daimler, so that would focus more on the trucking segment. Apart from that, in the investors presentation, we can actually see that they are even having an undisclosed partner that hasn't been revealed yet, as far as I know. So that could even be a nice catalyst for the share price to continue to go upwards if a major partnership is actually announced at some point in the future. However, if we're going to take a look at their expected revenue, we've got to wait quite long before they can also start to make some nice money, right? Because as we can see in this graph, well, Luminar seems to be starting to ramp up their process, their products in 2024. And that also becomes apparent if we start looking at their EBITDA, for example, which most likely is going to start being positive in 2024 as well. Now, they do have quite big expectations for the year 2030, which is, of course, 10 years ahead. They expect to have about $5 billion in revenue, half of it being EBITDA due to a 50% plus EBITDA margin. Now, I suppose it's that high because they could have some kind of subscription model, some kind of subscription service where they provide updates over the air or something, which could of course keep their costs low. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure about that. So when will Gores Metropoulos or GMHI officially acquire Luminar? Well, as we can see over here, the vote will be held on the 1st of December. Now, usually the vote is kind of just like a formality and it gets approved anyways. And usually a few days after the merger has been confirmed, has been approved, then they start trading under the new ticker symbol, which in this case is going to be Laser. So LAZR, which is actually a pretty cool ticker name if you ask me. Now, if we take a look at technical analysis, we can see that it might actually be at a very interesting price point right now. Before I do this technical analysis, I do want to say that usually, well, in this case, we don't have a lot of price action just yet, so we don't have a lot of history to reference to, so to say. But still, we're still going to take a look at some of the indicators because I do think that there are some bullish things about this. Now, let's first of all take a look at the charts itself. So yeah, the green and the red bars, of course, are the price action. The light blue horizontal lines are the support and resistance levels that I drew in. And as we can see, well, it created a nice support level over here. And now it seems to be kind of ranging between this support level and this, also support and also resistance level, right? So right between $10 and $10.35 more or less, which is of course a very tight range. Now, $10 is also going to be more or less a mental support, right? The $10 being a mental support. What we can also see is that the volume, if we can zoom in a little bit more, the volume seems to be increasing a little bit as well. It's a little bit above the exponential moving average. And if we look at the indicators, it seems quite interesting as well. This is the RSI, for example. And as we can see, the RSI, which is the blue line over here, has been crossing the EMA, the exponential moving average on the RSI as well, and now seems to be maintaining itself above the EMA, which is usually a good sign. Now, the last time this happened, the last time the RSI crossed the exponential moving average, so the blue crossing the white line, was actually over here. Now, if we zoom back out, we can see that that point was right around this moment over here, which was right before the nice upside of like, well, let's say from this point to this point was about 28%. So that's pretty nice, of course. And then if we look at the stochastics, we can see a very similar signature, I would say. The purple or pink line, which is the slower reacting stochastics, is quite low and now is continuing to the upside. Last time that happened was over here, again right before the move upwards of almost 30%, so that's pretty solid as well. And the MACD, pretty much the same thing here as well. The blue MACD has been crossing the orange signal line, and again the last time that happened was right over here. And again, also that was right before the move to the upside. So in general, I would say that there's a quite nice likelihood that this could actually be a major low for GMHI. And this is also why I've started a swing trade, so to say, because I kind of believe that the risk-reward ratio is quite nice. And if we start going back up, especially if we trade back above, let's say, I don't want to see this, I do want to see that. If we do start closing daily candlesticks above 1035 more or less, then I do think we can have a nice move back to the upside. And if we would move back to the previous all-time highs from this price point on, then we can see that it's more than 33%, so that's a pretty decent ROI. So what am I going to do with this stock? Well, as I said at the beginning of this video, I haven't completed my due diligence just yet, but mainly because of the technical analysis that I've just shown you, I did start a swing trade, so to say, because I did think that the risk-reward ratio is very nice at this price point. Now, I'm probably just going to keep this as a swing trade. I don't think this is going to be a very long-term play for me because so far I haven't done, of course, all my research just yet, but I don't really feel as bullish about this company as I did about a ChargePoint, for example, which is another SPAC play that I've made multiple videos about. And apart from that, I know that there's also another lidar technology company, which is Velodyne, which actually seems to be the #1 company in this niche right now. So if I would like to invest in lidar technology, then I do think that I would choose for Velodyne instead. So there you go, a brief overview of the company Luminar that is going to be acquired by Gores Metropoulos, which so far is trading under the ticker symbol GMHI. My next videos about Luminar are going to be a little bit more detailed than this one, so if you don't want to miss out on those videos, then definitely make sure that you're subscribed, of course. And also let me know in the comments, what kind of information would you like to see about this SPAC play? Alright, with that being said, thanks for watching and stay safe. Bye bye!